I was just in the shower and the fire alarm went off. So I'm out screaming shirtless on the deck. I think it's those smokers. Here in Corner Brook, which is the second largest town in Newfoundland that's not a suburb of St. John's. Kind of the economic hub of the West Coast, so pretty interesting place to see. Oh, this is the Corner Brook campus of Newfoundland's Memorial University. It's pretty nice. There's this crazy gorge that's just randomly here. Well, it finally happened. I saw a moose scrambling across the road. The threat is real. So, gotta keep my moose eyes on. I'm volunteering at the Grossmorn farm today, and look at the view they have. I don't think it gets much better. That is an egg from a duck that's about to die or something.
Just stop lying. My dad's name is Jerry, so I named him Jerry.
We've been planting lettuce for the last hour. I'm starting to see what they mean by back-breaking work. They use the washing machine as a salad spinner to dry the lettuce. How ingenious. It's time. I'm going back up to Cowhead with Joni and Elaine to see locally produced play. That was an impressive play. It was about the exploitation of loggers in 1930s Newfoundland in the camps, and it ended with some guy having to saw his own arm off. It's pretty interesting. Wow, I tell people I'm a geology major and they're like, oh, you gotta go to Green Point. After 2 weeks, here I am, walking to Green Point. Better be good. So this point is where the stratigraphic boundary between the Cambrian and the Ordovician periods was first indexed. So I must admit it's a pretty cool spot. They look like paint swatches. These might be the best sand dunes I've ever seen. I just had a lovely conversation with a guy from Vancouver at that duny beach I was at, and we were the only two people there. I think it was not a typical destination in the park, and it got me thinking about how these sorts of interactions are so much easier in places where there's not a lot of people, because if there's 10 groups of people or 20 or 30 like at most spots in the park, why would there be a reason for anyone to talk to each other? So there's something special about getting off the beaten track. I'm leaving Norris Point tomorrow, and it's been a wonderful stay. It's a place that strikes you with its natural beauty as soon as you arrive. I will say it's definitely a national park town. Like, there's a lot of people constantly passing through here. I've noticed a sense of resentment towards tourists among some of the local residents, which is often a sign of over-tourism. And even being here for 3 weeks, I've noticed that some of the amenities are more geared towards tourists than residents. Like, for example, there's 5 fine dining restaurants just in this one little community, but you have to drive like an hour just to get to a real grocery store that's not pitiful. So I think that can be a little bit frustrating probably to people who live here. And it's often a problem that accompanies these national park towns, these touristy places in general. But most importantly, the people that I've met here have been super lovely, very welcoming, and clearly love living here, which is what matters most. And it's definitely going to be sad to leave, but I'm excited to move on to the next chapter in St. Anthony at the northern tip of Newfoundland. Well, I just said goodbye to Joni, and it's time to hit the road. I've never seen the ocean so calm before. Well, on the way to St. Anthony, I've decided to take a slightly more indirect but a lot more remote route. Instead of going along the coast, I've taken a turn inland. They call it the Grenfell route. And it's interesting to see the interior of the Great Northern Peninsula. Really just untamed wilderness and a hell of a lot of moose. So the river here goes under the limestone bedrock, and that's why they call it the underground salmon pool. If I were here in June, there would be a lot of salmon running up in here to spawn. And here's the upper end of the cave. You can see the river just sort of disappear into the rocks. Pretty weird. There's definitely no claustrophobic salmon getting up this river. And here the river just pops out of the ground again. This is probably the coolest example of karst geology I've ever seen. The river just appears. So I'm in a town called Roddington, which is apparently the moose capital of the world. Apparently there's a higher density of moose in this area than anywhere else on Earth. That's Newfoundland for you. It was like 70 degrees and sunny an hour south of here, and here it's 49 degrees, northern tip of Newfoundland. Well, I made it to this cute little cozy house where I'll be spending the next week. For now, I need to find some dinner.